Welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Scott, coming to you today from the Windy City.
Well, you're always traveling at the moment, Scott. I'm actually just back in the UK, and I am Andy, the other host of the podcast.
Welcome to Tea and Timbits, everybody. Global perspectives on business development to help you prosper. Good to see you again, Andy. Today, we are going to talk about building custom solutions or using off-the-shelf tools and solutions. I think this has an impact for the whole business, but obviously for business development teams and sales teams as well as those operational teams. So we'll get into all that. Before we do, you've got some reflections to share with us, Andy. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. No, so I've been working a lot with some companies who are going through changes, and it seems to be that time of year, the bit of the spring clean mode in business as well as in life. And what I've noticed is that not just one occasion, but on multiple occasions with multiple customers, there has been a significant resistance from the sales team in particular in implementing the leaders change process. So what they're looking at doing essentially is putting in a really firm structures that are there to help focus on prospecting and revenue growth, or growing the brand, whatever it is that they as a business have decided they're going to change their attitude for, they change their business approach for, and they're going to be driving new structures, new process forward.
Yeah.
And what I've seen consistently now is there is this like very much a sort of, if it isn't broken, don't fix it kind of mindset from the sales teams. And it's really, really unusual because, I've been working a lot with this before, and it's something that that does happen from one or two individuals, but it seems to be like in the moment a collective approach of resistance to change. And I don't know if it's because of the things that are going on in the world, and people are getting more and more uncomfortable about what's going on in their lives, and therefore they want to try and keep some stability or consistency. But it has been, like I say, 3 different companies doing 3 different change processes. They've managed them in the right way, they've set everything up in the right way, but the resistance to change has been quite significant, and they've kind of sort of dug their heels in. And it's it's very interesting to see the different ways that it's being handled. You see one company is going, okay, it's just going to pass, it's going to be fine, it's probably going to work out all right in the end, and they're just letting it happen, and they hoping that that something's going to change eventually, and that they'll embrace it, and that they just let them fizzle out and work through this resistance, which I don't think is a good approach. The other company are actually going all in and changing the structure of the CRM system. They're changing all of the external communication. They're changing internal communication. They're going all in to try and combat this resistance. They're calling out people who are, sort of the ringleaders of this, and trying to put them in places to be the leaders of the change process, so that they then have responsibility, so that if the change fails, it comes back on them, which of course stops them trying to resist that change because they suddenly have a KPI linked to it.
And
then another
like
company has done something in between.
Yeah.
So it's it will be interesting to see which one of these actually pans out the best, and also which of these change processes are going to be successful. But it's an interesting time, and I thought I'd share it because I saw it from 3 different companies, the same sort of challenge.
Well, thank you for sharing. Let's do an episode on that next time. I think there's a lot more to get into. So at the risk of turning this into that episode, let me ask: do you think it has something to do with the individuals and their just inherent human resistance to change, or do you think that they don't know what they don't know, and they haven't been given the context for why we're changing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I think that's the problem. It's it comes back to the communication, it comes back to the understanding, it comes back to the fear. It's all of those things combined, and I think there's different elements of that. But then if you have the stronger characters in the group who are not on board and who are resisting it, then the others will follow, and they will sort of look to them and go, oh well, if they're not keen on it, then it's probably not a good thing. And also there's a possibility that the leaders themselves aren't really fully on board with the change themselves, or
Yeah.
not living it, not communicating it, not being as consistent as they should be in implementing it. So it's an interesting
I look
challenge.
forward to getting into that. That's a good conversation, and certainly something I think everybody can empathize with. We've all sort of been through those kinds of moments. Thank you. Moving into the topic that we were going to talk about today, which is custom solutions or off-the-shelf solutions. And so, Andy, what have you seen in your experience about companies who take an off-the-shelf solution and just kind of run with it versus customizing it? And I don't mean configuring your CRM to suit your needs. I mean customizing it and making it do something that it doesn't do off the shelf.
Yeah, it's a good topic, because I think it's a trap that a lot of people are falling into, because we all hear
Which
about
one is the trap?
Well, the trap is not doing the customization and thinking that getting off the shelf, because we can easily see on the internet, on everywhere, on adverts, and talking to the salespeople who sell these systems, all of the great things that these systems can do. Be it CRM system or any other support system, it doesn't matter what it's for. But if we focus on CRM because we're a business development, that's fine. But it applies to financial systems, it applies to operation systems, whatever. We get shown all of the great capabilities of it, and some of them will be relevant to the businesses that we're running and the way that we're working. We go, oh, that's really good. Oh yes, it's capable of doing this. It's capable of changing to support that. It's capable of doing this. And then I think a lot of people fall in the trap. And if we stick to CRM systems and we say, I don't know, Salesforce, HubSpot, Dynamics, we know that they're very, very capable systems. They integrate very well with all of the other systems. No matter what systems we have, we can, use them as marketing tools, customer service tools, sales tools, business development tools. We know all of this, and we think, oh, great. Well, we'll buy that version that has that capability, and we'll put it in our system. And you buy it, you implement it, you buy all the licenses, and then you go, oh, it doesn't quite do what we do or the way that we do it. And then people internally try and figure it out and try and adjust it and try and adapt it. And because these systems are so complex and so capable, it's virtually impossible to do in-house unless you are capable of doing that customization yourself. And it's very unlikely that a business can do that. And that's where external companies can come in.
Well, I think
can help and really do
you've
that.
hit the nail on the head there. So, the topic here was one I brought forward because of some experience that we've been going through recently. And I think that there is this expectation, and you've just described it perfectly, that I can just buy the license. I can just get the tool, and I used it before, or it's advertised to solve these problems. So, and I'm in a crunch and I need that problem and that pain to go away. And so I buy it and I turn it on and I start using it, but then I got to get back to actually delivering and executing what I'm responsible for. And it doesn't work, right? And then you never devote the time to tailor it to what you need it to do. And so there is sort of a line that I think that borders on, which is just proper implementation and configuration. Because yes, you can buy a CRM and you can adjust the fields that you need that are appropriate for your business, and you can tell it what workflows you have so that it can emulate those and help you support those processes. But then you also talked about, it integrates so well, and I think that is a false promise. So they all have modern ways of integrating, and there's all kinds of other tools that you can use to connect these systems. But if you don't know how you are going to integrate, or you don't know why you want to integrate, and you don't decide ahead of time which system is going to be responsible for which step of the process or which book of record, then you can't just integrate them and call it a day. Now, when I was thinking of this topic, though, I was thinking quite literally, do we use an off-the-shelf system and customize the way that it is configured and make sure we implement and integrate it properly, or do we start from a blank sheet of paper and get a development team to code for us the ideal solution for our business and our circumstance? And I think that
on
Go
that
ahead.
point, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but on that point, that's the thing. The one thing that I have seen fail the most in all of the companies that I've been into are the companies that believe that the off-the-shelf system, or paying someone else to customize an off-the-shelf system that is specialized in CRM or operations or finance, and build their own one in-house, even though it's tailored specifically to their business, it always is out of date, too slow, too incompatible, unable to adjust with the changes of the business, changes of the market, requirements of customers, requirements of the business, new other alternative softwares. Integration is almost impossible. And it becomes the worst thing. So you save some money by having your own IT department to develop something and that you manage in-house. And yes, it's all yours and all your data is protected because it's on your servers. But it never really works. It never really works.
So, okay. So obviously there's ways to overcome that, and that I think people skip past. Well, I mean, when you realize that there's a competitive advantage in having a system tailored specifically to your market, your audience, your operation, it can be incredibly powerful. But it obviously has to be done with all the right structures and expertise to make sure you avoid the pitfalls that you just described. I also concede, though, that hey, listen, if you need a CRM, don't go build a custom. Like, there's time and place for. Well, wait a minute. What do I need that should be custom versus off the shelf? And yes, CRM we keep using as the example as we're chatting here. It is infinitely flexible in terms of how you can configure it. You can create new record types and fields and workflows in there for just about any scenario that you might need. Where it falls down is exposing that very carefully to your customer. There's a lot of businesses that actually surface that data or parts of it or the profile of the information, or there's some knowledge sharing or collaboration in the process that they want the customer to see. And it will be advertised as something, sure, I can do in my CRM, but it's then you're asking your customers to log into your CRM.
I know.
It looks like your CRM. And so, there's an example of a lot of times a custom portal that connects to, integrates properly, and exposes that with a unique interface is way more powerful than trying to customize it. So I'll concede that I'm not saying everything has an opportunity to be a better custom solution, but there are absolutely moments when it will give you a competitive advantage. But it has to be planned, thought, organized at length before you actually write a line of code.
I think that's the key, is actually knowing what it is that you need, defining that, and then getting expert help to help you to define that, clearly articulate that, and then work with a company or individuals in-house, it doesn't matter, but people who are experts at doing this, to then customize it accordingly. Because what you don't want to do is like sort of half do it, try and save 100 euros here or there.
Right.
Because so in the long run, it's going to end up costing you a lot more if you get it wrong at the beginning.
Yes. And so good point. So there's a higher upfront cost to this, but there's a lower ongoing cost.
Correct. Yeah.
However, there's not zero ongoing cost.
No.
And so you do need to anticipate that things will shift, businesses will change. You're going to want to enhance or adapt or adjust, and you're going to want to budget and plan for that accordingly. So we've seen great success with a good, well-considered upfront investment that then has almost like, by comparison, zero ongoing costs with the occasional, change request and whatnot, that then works beautifully for that organization for a very long time, because they've identified this as a core function. We've already been running the process kind of on paper for long enough that we know the process is what we need it to be. Now let's just optimize that. So that's the other thing here is, don't go think that technology or a system or a process is going to solve a pain point inherently. It has to be solved first conceptually, and then you go, you know what, this has been baked long enough. I'm going to invest in a solution that can underwrite this on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, and I think the key is if you do it properly up front, if you get that customization in place from the beginning, and you have a very clearly defined sort of system outline that you're going to have, you can then set it up so that you have, a handful of super. I'm thinking large organization, but you can have then a handful of super users in the organization who are able to, help other users, get them on board, help with day-to-day basics, and make some simple customization requests or activities, because the system is so intuitive and it's so tuned to their business that that's all that's needed.
Or there is one, right?
And there's one large company that I know who did do this and did it very successfully, and then used that system for about 10 years before they needed any major change to that system. And 10 years is a long time to have a system that is working for your business, and that was so flexible. It was able to adjust with the market needs, with the customer needs, with the business needs, with the restructuring, reorganizing, but it was a flexible enough system, and it was essentially an off-the-shelf system that had been customized to be right for their business. So it is possible to do if you do it right.
And that's been our experience as well. So thank you. Good chat, Andy. So I guess upon reflection, hopefully the takeaways here are to consider whether the tool is appropriate to solve your problem, to make sure that you've actually identified your problem and what the solution could be before you even explore tools. And then to really intentionally think about, is an off-the-shelf product going to be appropriate for this? Or am I going to get a competitive advantage by having a custom-built solution, which might be customizing an off-the-shelf product or starting from a blank page? And then regardless of which one of those avenues you choose, how do I make sure that it's going to continue to be relevant and supportive on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm completely aligned on this, and given the experience I've had in different industries, in different countries, and different sizes of business, that is consistently the case.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you, Andy. Thanks everybody for listening. If you want to get in touch, you can go to tandtimbits.com. See you on the next episode. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Scott.